Alright, hello internet. So I'm here to talk about my favorite games from 2019. So first up, The Walking Dead the final season. I have always loved Telltale games, and then this one's kind of like bittersweet 'cause it's their last game because they closed down after this. Because during production of this game, they shut down for a final season. Within the final two episodes, because there's only a 4 episode season, came out after they were, I believe, defunct. I could be wrong, but yeah. So that was it. Was a I don't know. I don't know how to it was a yeah. It was actually nice to like see like them conclude one of their actual like stories since all their games were season based. So to see one that like finally like got to an ending that could be a conclusion to one of the stories that you'd been playing for a while was nice, and I did enjoy it. And it was, I said this in the last video about like Batman: The Enemy Within, but even more so, the New Frontier game. They had a bunch of different things that they were doing with like your like character that interacts with other characters, and then based on how you interact with them, your relationship with them is like in flux and always changing. And then so you have like that on top of the choices and consequences, and then some of the big choices that like decide like very specifically how things will start at the end of the or end or start at like ending points and start points at the end of episodes and the start of episodes, and it's always a fun time. And just like finally seeing the conclusion to Clementine's story as well, because like in season two you got AJ, but then you didn't have any closure with that storyline until the season. So, because season three in the New Frontier, you get a bunch of flashback sequences, and then season four and this season, in the final season, you finally get to have Clementine and AJ, and then like finally have a resolution to like what they've been going through. Like more so Clementine, she's like lived through this whole post-apocalypse of the walkers for like a while, like a long time, seemingly. And so then they have like AJ paired up with her when he's basically the same thing. And it was just a good like dynamic of like, she's lived through this and like this is all he's ever known. Whereas like she was like not always, or like yeah, AJ was like basically born into the whole Walker thing, and then Clementine was like a kid growing up in the Walker post apocalypse. So and then like she is taking care of him, and then they're like, well, it ever get back to the way it was before normal? It's like that's nice, thing that they threw in there that they talk about, or like whenever they're talking about stuff, just like the banter between them was always really good, and like the dialogue and all, but yeah, all the characters and all the choices. And there's some, I'm trying to think of how not to spoil it, but there's some stuff that happens where it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or just like some cool stuff that they throw in there that's like throwbacks to previous seasons. Yeah, really good stuff, and just a lot of good moments. And yeah, I very much enjoyed Walking Dead, and it was sad to see it go, but it's always gonna be one of my favorites. So definitely one of my favorite games of that year. Next game, Resident Evil 2, the remake. I was a huge fan of the original of this game on the PS1. I almost said PS2. And then I've also played it on like the 64, and I think I have it on the GameCube out also. But it's always been one of my favorites because Resident Evil 1 I could never finish; it was just too hard for me. So I played this one, actually made it through, and it was like, man, that was, so that will always stick with me as like a memory. But then playing this one, it's just they did such a good job of just like redoing the scenarios, and it basically isn't the same one to one, but it basically works, and they have like modernized it to, with like the controls, with the graphics, all the interfaces, all the characters. It's so good. Like you go back to Raccoon City, and it's basically the same thing, but it's not like it's not one to one. So there are like some new things. Like you get some items that you can like board up, windows with and such, and you get like these defensive items that they brought in for the Resident Evil 1 remake. When you get the T knives and the grenade thingies. And so like in this one you get the, well, actually it's cool because like, they took that mechanic, and so you can, besides like the knife that you can use, you can use, grenades and flash grenades as defensive items, which is pretty cool. So it's nice to have like other items you can use when you get grabbed to defend yourself, and like, break free. Oh, yeah, yeah, just yeah, I really enjoy this game. It's like now I'm thinking about it, like there's all these things I'm thinking about as I'm talking about it, but just like the gore factors there, because there's like some pretty brutal moments, um, and just like the way you can like dismember some of the enemies. Um, what else? Oh, yeah, it's like yeah. Well, I guess talking about Mr. X isn't really a spoiler, but the fact that that's like a whole thing in like the scenario, like the way that they redid it. Because in the original game it was like scenario A, scenario B, but in this one when you play like one character, you're just like them all the way through. But you do encounter Mr. X, like not in the B scenario. So it's like like whatever scenario you're in, right? You're gonna encounter him, and he's just gonna you're gonna have to like deal with that. It's like a whole thing. Depending on which character you are, it's like one character he's in there longer, one character not so much. Well, not so much, but like not as long. So, but I think it's based on the scenario. It's not based on the character. So never mind what I just said. I could be wrong though, because I think when you're Claire, it's not as bad. Whereas if you're Leon, it is. Well, if you're Leon, it's not as bad. You just have to deal with them for like most of the game, probably. I would say. Yeah, man. It's yeah. I don't really know what to say 'cause it's just like, yeah, dude. It's like if you like Resident Evil 2, it's basically modernized and better, and just, you know it got, well, I don't want to say it got the Resident Evil 4 treatment 'cause that's like the wrong thing to say, but basically it's just Capcom's been doing a really good job of just like taking their stuff that they've, or their franchises of old, and then bringing them up to like current standards and just putting them out and then having them be just the best of the best. So I think Resident Evil 2 is probably like one of the first, I would say, of those batches. Because there's another game on this list I'll talk about later that's also that, but yeah, it's just a fun playing it. Like also that's a cool is like Leon and Claire have different weapons and things, so they play differently because they have different items and equipment. So it is cool that they actually have different like ways that they play because of their different uh, inventory. Also, I know I'm like not looking at the camera, but my like screen's down here, and my camera's like on top of my TV. So sorry, because I'm not looking like at the camera, but it's whatever. So Resident Evil 2, just like the atmosphere, just the gameplay. It's yeah, like that's your thing. Is like I feel like well, not ever since Outlast came out, but like when you have Outlast, and yeah, there's Evil Within, but I haven't really played it. But it seems like the classic survival horror style. Like you still don't see a lot of those games. So, and then like you have games like Outlast, which are just, well, I haven't really played it, but it just from what I've seen, it's like you have a lot of games like that where it's just like mostly jump scares and not really a lot of gameplay there. So to see something like this come back and be like, this is kind of how it's done, in my opinion, is nice. But yeah, man, across the board, it was a good, you know, revamp of the story, and then the graphics are amazing and the gameplay is great. So it's just as good as it was before back then, and it holds up. It's even better, I would say, because like the way that they've modernized it, and it's not, like I said, it's not the 1-to-1, 100% reduplication. They've basically, taken the story and like rounded off all the hard edges, and then it's like, if we made this now, and then have the story make sense, and not just have it be like campy, zombies in Raccoon City. So it was like it, even though it is kind of whimsy and a bit off the wall, it does seem like it is more grounded. And I don't want to say realistic. It just seems like more grounded for sure because of all the like all the characters you interact with, like the or just like from the files that you read and how like it has like when you're in the sewers and it's like the labs in the sewers and like all the corruption in the RAPD and how it's all like tied together and like the stuff that Umbrella was doing when you read like all the files. It's like, okay, well this ties together very nicely on the lore and story side too. But yeah, Original 2. I did not expect to talk about that game and gush over it as much as I was just doing. But yeah, that's another game. Let's see. Next game on here, I remember playing, but I don't remember. Like, yeah, this is 2019, so it's been. I mean, it's only been a year. I do remember playing this game a lot though, and I do enjoy it. I remember liking it, but Days Gone, man. I did not like. I didn't really know what to expect from this game, and it's also it's like an open world game with. It doesn't have zombies. They're called freakers, so it's like it's a zombie-esque enemy type, but there's more than one enemy type in that game. So I'm trying to think, dude. It's like I remember really enjoying this game because it's open world. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of things, and just I think what it was like Deacon St. John, the main character, is like I didn't really like. There's a very blank slate, like property to that, or not property, but quality to that character because I didn't play. I didn't know what to expect from this game, and then like you're just playing this game, and like you're kind of just like getting into this character because this is a new franchise, and he pretty much grew on me because it's like he is very much like a smartass and and pretty badass too because he can just like because he like like he doesn't. It's like really cool like when he like just his dialogue and his delivery and like how he like slowly like there's a very like it's a very well paced like way that they like unveil this character's like background and like what he's been through and just like the way he's talking about the whole like the times they're in that game since it's very much like overrun by like hordes of the undead and such um or just like the abominations of the freakers like when you hear him talk about it it seems it's very well like I said like at the end of days type of thing where it's just this is just the way humanity is and it's very it yeah I guess it's well it's not like The Walking Dead but there's like that whole like just the brutalistic survival aspect of it where it's just like things are very bad and just like to see like in that specific like universe just how people survive so it was like a cool mechanic where or not mechanic but like it was like a cool perspective because you had like three different survivor group like there's like three very specific survivor camps in that game that you get like examples of like how it could be in the post-apocalyptic so you have like the people who are at the forest encampment by the lake and that's how they survive they're just like hunter-gatherers and then you've got the lady who controls like the like prison like the like I'm trying to think of like how to phrase that but basically people that are there they're imprisoned and they're like working they're like it's like a work release but it's not really because I'm pretty it's like they're not quite slaves it's like a weird thing dude because it's like they're they're like kind of like forced to work to get their cut of like the meals and stuff to like keep surviving it's weird like they all work together but it's not really like a commune aspect of like cooperation it's like more of like a forced labor type thing it's really weird I thought it was a very interesting take of like how you could like force people to like band together and just like force them like essentially they're putting a gun to their head to like help them out and it's just it's an interesting way I'd like to go about it and I hadn't thought about that before of like that someone would do that or like yeah and then third one is there's this military group that is basically just they're just like barricaded and are very that's like their style it's like they are well it is like it's like a remnant of them they're like a I can't remember like the specific words if they're like a detachment or like a specific like um group, but like it's a bunch of military or people that have been like volunteered, or I guess not volunteered. Like they've been found worthy enough to be volunteered to join them, and so they are just like hunkered down and like barricaded in, and they just like go out and like do patrols and just like that's how they survive. So it's like yeah, three very different examples in that game of like survivor groups, and I thought that was pretty cool. Um, and man, I mean that's like one of the cool parts I can remember. There's also like a lot of cool sections where there's like just hordes of the freakers just chasing you, and it gets super intense, and you have to like mow them down, and then like as you level up, you kind of put your skills into like stamina, health, and I can't think of the third right now, but yeah, man, like you kind of like have to be leveled up pretty good to take on the hordes, because man, it's super intense. And there's a lot of cool story parts where just stuff doesn't go the way that you're thinking it's going to go. Because there's so many parts where I was like playing the game and it felt like very generic, or like super typical of like what was going to happen next, and then like that didn't happen. So it's like there's a lot of like just 90-degree turns in this game of just like I guess that's would that be a 90-degree turn, or just like it doesn't things don't turn out the way you think they do, because there's even like a buildup of like a subplot where like there's this like whole thing that they're like making a thing out of like going to get dynamite to like blow up some horde in like the mountains or something, and they don't do it. They do something else, and it's like whoa, it's like super intense of like what they do, and like the way Deacon talks about it. That's the other thing about Deacon, dude, is like he's very like degaff. He just like does whatever and doesn't give a f, and just like it's like it's very chaotic good with him of like doing whatever like I'm not doing whatever, because like he isn't like a super duper scumbag, but he like it's like he'll kill like bad people to like right the wrong or save the day, but it's like he's not just like hardcore kill everybody psychotic terrible person. So he has like morals and like a code of like justice and ethics, but like but like the way in the game and like the way it's done, like the way it's like slowly, like I said, drip fed to you over time, and like you like learn these things about him and like what he's been through, and like how he knows how to like do all this stuff, or just like the way his life was before all this happened. It's like it's just yeah, it's like I guess like it's a good character, like it like you end up like basically just like learning all this stuff about this dude, and he like ends up being like a pretty cool main protagonist. Like I didn't expect to like, so because like I say, he just like seems like very jackass or just smart ass at moments, and I'm just like this guy's kind of a jerk. But then like over time, it's like it very much grew. Like Deacon St. John very much grew on me. I was like yeah, and he's got like his bro Boozer and stuff, and like they're just two dudes on bikes and doing stuff, and that's the whole thing. Like the whole biker storyline too. That the way like that ties in, I thought that's really good. I mean, I guess like one knock I would give against it though would is like there's like two very like coincidental of like this like plot moments that like happen where it's like it seems like too relevant to the character that like he is this close to like these specific events that happened, but it's like ultimately it's like I'll give it a pass, because like obviously it's like the character has to have like motivations, and then like A, that, and then B, it's like a good way to like tie everything in to like get background on like how everything went down, because otherwise it'd be like just like a needle in the haystack as far as like if you're ever going to find out anything in that world about like anything that happened in the before time, or just like the way stuff went down. um yeah, Days Gone, I really enjoyed that game. I played it a lot. I mean, I didn't go for the platinum or play like the extra stuff that came out. There's like a bunch of free DLC that came out I didn't play, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, what it did that I thought was cool was it made me think of like if there ever is like a zombie apocalypse situation, it's like stay away from vehicles. Just like get on a motorcycle, because they're more maneuverable and nimble, and like cars are death traps, because like you get on them, or you get in them rather, and like if there's like a pile up, or if there's like a horde of zombies and it's like cars are crashing, like if your vehicle's disabled and you're stuck in it, you're dead. So it's like cars and vehicles are death traps, whereas like motorcycles are more maneuverable or nimble. And then also like some of them you can take off road, so it's like a 2-wheel ATV, depending on like the terrain it can go through. So I thought that was pretty neat. And also I mean this game's not on the list, but it also made me think about that when you got like the motorcycle thingy in Death Stranding. So it's like yeah, kind of prove that theory because it's like that's one of the main modes of traversal in that game as well. But yeah, besides those three games, 'cause that's three. So next up is Control. I very much enjoyed this game. It's funny though because I can't really remember a lot of what happens. I remember liking the mechanics because you have like really good gameplay, and it's like you've got shooting, you've got like telepathic throws, you've got like a cool like that's the thing is like the gameplay and like all the animations are really good, and then it's like all the storyline stuff is just very. I'm trying to think of the word, but it's like just a lot of just yeah, a lot of weird stuff. Because I'm trying to think of like how to. It's really hard to like describe it, but like just play it because it's like it's ultimately talking about it out of context. It's just it's not doing the game justice. But trust me, it's good stuff. But like yeah, all the different enemy types that you get to use your abilities on. So it's like all the combat's fun. All the combat sequences are pretty good. There's a lot of cool boss sequences and side stuff to do outside of the main story. Um, but yeah, also the graphics it looks really good. It looks very pretty game. Um, I didn't play the DLC even though I bought the DLC, so I need to do that, but just haven't got around to it. And there's a lot of cool sequences. And I don't really want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything. But man, but your abilities, man, they're just so cool because you get like telekinesis. You get like this cool dash, like fast dash ability. You can like bring up the environment like with your telekinesis to like shield you, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think. You get levitation, but then that's the cool thing is like when you have levitation on, you can like levitate and do telekinesis at the same time, which was like amazing. So it's just like I thought that was the coolest thing. So it felt. I mean, I was saying this when this game came out, but it's just clicking in my brain again. But basically, I got like Jean Grey with the gun vibes because you could just like have all this like cool telekinetic and like maneuverability, but then also like the weapons in the game, pretty good stuff as well. Cause I'm trying to think because it's like I think there's like at least. Well, I don't remember actually, but like you do get a good variety of weapon types to like deal with different types of enemies. So it's like pistol, shotgun, sniper, automatic, I think, or something. But like you get the tools of the trade to like get through things, and it's just yeah, it's nice, fun, actiony, weird, supernatural stuff. It's a fun ride, and I very much enjoyed it and would recommend it for sure. And then my last favorite game of 2019, which isn't my top game of 2019, would be Devil May Cry 5. Because, dude, just just. I mean, it's about to be re-released because of the special edition that comes out on PS5 and well, I guess it's also it's cross-gen. Never mind, but like special edition is about to come out. We get to play as Virgil, but in DMC5 you don't. But you get Dante, Nero, and V. They all play completely different, and just dude, it is Devil May Cry 5 is like the cream of the crop, like the top of the list, king right now in my opinion of like 3D combat action games because just the different styles that you get with each character and just like it's really cool for V because he's very anime. Like he has like these two familiars, so he doesn't really like actually fight. He has like a cane. He's very fragile himself. And then I believe when you're playing, if you're like low on, I don't want to say mana, but are there something that he does where it's like he'll like read from a book to like recover something or something? It's just very anime. It's very cool. And then like Nero has like the devil breaker or devil bringer. I forget what it's called, but like the thing that like he's a prosthetic, bunch of different arms can go on it, and like you can also like grapple and pull things, and just and like you can mix that in with like your combos and like your sword play and your gun play, and just so good. Just so good. It's just amazing. Just it never gets old to just like juggle enemies, slash up enemies, shoot up enemies, and just. But then it's like messed up because I never got around to playing the Bloody Palace DLC that came out for that, which was free. So I someday, whatever. And then Dante has like so many different like styles, and they're all so cool. And he has like this alternate like Demon King mode, or not Demon King, but like his form changes, like physically he like changes into like this demon thing, and it's so cool. Like you can, it just it, but that's the thing, is like you can just like chain a bunch of like moves together when you're attacking, and then just like transform, do even more damage as you're it's so good. It's just like stylish. It's like a 10 'cause it's so cool, and just like yes, like yeah. I don't know. It's just I'm trying to like think of like how to like say this without my brain melting down, but just you do so many cool things in that game, and just like that's all just like and just man, it's yeah, that's your thing. It's like there's no slowdown, there's no hitching. It's just smooth all the way through, and just it's a great culmination of like the storyline as well from previous games. Um, Even though I feel like what they did with Nero is kind of a cop out because it wasn't really hinted at in the previous game or in this game really. I feel like. I mean, that being said, I'll give it to them because it was a cool thing that they did. Like I didn't see that coming. A, and then B, I thought it was like a cool, take on like what they did, or just like a cool way to like make that character more integrated into the storyline. And so just like the stuff that happens in the storyline is really cool too, because it's just like really high stakes, just craziness of just trying to like fight this demon in this giant tree that's killing everything, and it's just it's very anime, and it's very shonen because you have like different characters and stuff happens, and then you have like characters from previous games, and you have like lady interests, and then it all just like culminates, and everybody like comes together. Awesome giant fight sequences, and just so good. And man, yes, just it was just a fun action filled ride the entire time. um and yeah, there's so many good boss fights, so many good action sequences, and like not never really a dull moment. I mean, kind of. V is not really. Yeah, V is like so much different from the other two, but if you're not playing as V, it's definitely never. I mean, only when you're like going in between the like enemy, encounters, and you're like going through stages, getting through puzzles and stuff. But like even the puzzles aren't that bad or that crazy, so it never really, you know, you're you're pretty good. Yeah, the game's pretty good of like bouncing you from like the next section to the next section to the next section in between missions and stuff. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. So that was definitely a great Devil May Cry 5, man. Such a good game. Yeah, those are my favorite games of 2019. So I'm going to try to put links to all the previous years at the end of this on the screen here. I don't know how to do those because I haven't really done them, like the little annotated videos or whatever that I mean, they always change it too on YouTube. It's like how to do those things. And if that doesn't work, I'll just put links in the description. So look forward to that. And then luckily, when I made this Word file and I was like going back through looking at the games of 2018 and 2019 that I liked, I'm already working on 2020 as the year goes on. So I've got 4 out of 5 for 2020. I might make adjustments, but basically, the one for 2020 should not be this delayed or this late getting released. So look forward to that. Hopefully, if I get around to making it. But yeah, that's it for this video. So feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share with friends or not. That's cool too. And until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching, and I'm now signing off.